Welcome back to episode 5 of a moon scenario running on normal with a standard start. Here I am manually adjusting my base cooling mechanism, and went ahead and closed the valve. It's getting a little chilly in here, and I turned on the pump to pump any gas out of the radiator pipes. I will be automating this in this episode. Went ahead and extended this. It was time to plant some food. Try to organize the different types by row. We have the wheat out back, and the soy in the middle, and potatoes up front. You really don't need that ore scanner card anymore, so it's probably a useful term. I'm just seeing if this tank is. So I pulled all the liquid out of the tank. There is a little bit of water vapor in the tank, and using a lot of work, I can remove that, but I'm not going to bother since there's ice everywhere. So I can't actually disassemble it because there's a little bit of gas in it, or water vapor in it. So basically, take it outside, open it up, vent it, and then you can disassemble it. I'm getting these pieces out of the way. We'll also be decluttering the base a bit in this episode. So yeah, it's sort of action-packed. Often I would, connect up the water tank and just leave it connected, and I decided I'll go ahead and just pump it all out and then remove it, save some space, because once you have that liquid out, you really don't need that portable tank at that point. Grab my hand drill. Figure go ahead and break up this steel into units of 50 while I'm here. Pretty much all out of iron. I'm waiting for nighttime to go outside and do some smelting, and I do it at night to avoid the ice melting in my hands or the oxide and volatiles melting while I'm breaking them up. Looking for what's useful in here. Figure I'd throw that into the printer so they're not rolling around and getting lost. Typically, for the most part, most of the alloys are used by the electronic printer, mostly. Go ahead and top off these batteries here. Alright, we're just going to drag this, just throw it over here in the back. No storms to worry about, so we'll just crank it open and leave it alone, and at some point we'll come back and use the drill to disassemble it. Checking my pipes here, we are getting liquid in the pipe. I'm not set up for that. Basically, the pollutants are cold enough now to liquefy, and so what I'm going to do is pop off that radiator, and I will go ahead and pump this gas, and I'll even turn it on this time, and that will warm it back up again. So that should pretty much get rid of the liquids out of there. So that's one of the dangers of on the moon. You just plug external radiators on things and just forget about it, depending what's in there, and how your pipes are set up. And that's why the external radiator I use for cooling the base, I pull all the gas out. Because it has so little gas in it, when I close the digital valve, it will cool very quickly without the full base, moderating it. Waiting for the pressure to get reasonable before I cancel, so I don't have too much stuff flying in here. Once I clean up the base a little bit, that'll be less of an issue. Speaking of which, while this is not the purpose of this trench in the middle of my base, I am going to leverage it for holding my trash. So there's a lot of items that I have that I really don't need, or at this point, and they're just in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw them all down here for now. At some point, I will set up a recycler and centrifuge, and I will just recycle all the components. Looking through here, what I need and don't need. I'll need this. I'm going to drain that container. And we don't need the filler because we're going to use a drinking fountain. So that's old tech. We have the grow light, but that's not for a while, so we throw it down there. We're going to use natural lighting for now. It seems pretty effective on the moon, so we'll go with that. All right, so get rid of that. Go down there. Part of the reason for the cleanup is I need to expand my hydroponics, and dealing all this junk is let's throw all this down here. We don't need that. We don't need those. And no storms, so we shouldn't need the duct tape. And to hopefully never use a manual mining tool. All right, that's down there. What's in here? So some of the stuff we want to keep around. We'll just throw this stuff over here. Get that out of the way. Let's see, we want those and no, and yeah, we'll need that. I'm going to make an automated oven, so I'm not going to use a microwave. For some reason, the fire extinguisher went off. I didn't mean for it to go off. We don't need that. We did have an extra mining belt. I don't do the belt within belt, container within container type thing. That's seems like a just checking around, make sure nothing weird was added by the fire extinguisher. Looking around for anything else I should toss in there. We'll put that up here. Don't need that anymore. Looking around anything in this list that I don't need. I don't need that. I don't need the solid generator. I mean, if I had to use solid generator, which I do not imagine at this point, I can always dig it through the pile, but I have no projected need for it. I was considering where I throw that down there too, but I figure I'd keep that handy just in case. Once I have a full base air purification system, I'll set up some system to constantly, pull out any bad stuff out of the air. Then I won't need that anymore, but that's not set up yet. All right, so it's a little nicer in here, a little more room. We can put some more plants out. Turn that off. We don't need that running. Now, once you automate this, that'll turn off by itself. And so basically at that point, the pipes outside have no gas, so they can't liquefy, they can't turn into ice. So it's a pretty cheap safety mechanism. Okay, it's night. Turn that off. Yeah, as I mentioned in the previous episode, I was attempting to add gas to it to increase the pressure, and I didn't realize it was turned off. And as you notice, I kept playing with the dials, and it wasn't going up. It was going down because it was naturally cooling. Thanks for one of the commenters for pointing this out. I double checked the video and go, oh, yeah. So hopefully it's one of the mistakes you make once and you don't make it again. Fortunately with volatiles and oxide everywhere, I can be reasonably aggressive. I don't go too much overboard, but I can throw much in there as I want. All right, so it's nice and toasty in there. Let's go ahead and smelt the hot stuff first. I need to track down some coal for more steel, although I have quite a bit of steel right now. Yeah, I was definitely running out of iron, so building those hydro trays goes to iron big time. Oops. And we'll throw this old filter in there and get rid of that. Okay, it's hot enough. Hopefully we do some more mining. We can find some more stuff and get that smelting. Specifically copper will go through there pretty quickly. So we're also keeping an eye out for more lead and nickel. So if I happen to spot those, then I'm going to go right for them. Otherwise, then we need some more coal in case I need to make steel in the future. I'll have it ready to go. And I've been trying to move away from the base a bit before I start mining, so the immediate area is not a hellscape. Let's see if I can get away with some. Check the temperature. Yeah, I was thinking about doing a steel run. But once I threw the coal there and it cooled down too much, then I go, that's not going to happen. Although we did degas it. I mean, I just chopped up like 400 units of steel inside, so we're covered for a while. That original insulated tank I put out there is still keeping up with all the gas I've been throwing in there. So everything I've degassed and smelted has been stored away. I mean, if it really came full, I'd just take a second small tank and connect the two But it's doing pretty well. And at some point, probably, I believe next episode, I will start pulling out the CO2 out of the all that gas and then cooling it down. So I'll use the technique that I'll be using in the base for cooling, and I'll put logic on it so it'll cool it down to about 25 Celsius and then stop, which is a nice plant temperature range for CO2. I could spell floor. Alright, so we're going to do a little cosmetic. Get rid of those wall units off the floor and put in some floor units. Just need 6, so. Go ahead and print in AC housing. We need to do an IC chip housing sensor. This is all for automating the base cooling. Transformer. We throw this stuff way over here. Hopefully it's far enough away from the door that we don't get slammed by flying ingots. Should take my suit off. I'm sort of focus on. I think I'm getting the cooling automation set up. Yep, there we go. Track down my head lamp. I need a more convenient place. Really should just store it in a shelf in the base. There's no reason to carry it around with me. Not like I'll be using it while I'm outside the base or anything. Okay, so we chipped this in an earlier episode. So 26, yeah, we'll just open that up. And we'll do the IC chip. And they're all growing, seem to be happy. Now, sure, if I had a grow lamp and all that, maybe I could optimize the growth cycle, but this is fine for now. And stuff flies to the floor. The jetpack just has a little bit of nitrogen and CO2 in it, so a little bit of no big deal. That's why I didn't want to just grab the raw gas out of the tank out there. I filtered it first, so. Just in case I need to do jet back inside. And as you go to the water bottles, we'll just toss them in the furnace, get rid of them. There's no reason to save them. And put all the iron over here. So this will read this temperature inside the base. And we're going to isolate the whole thing on its own transformer, which will make setting up the housing a lot easier. We just have the components we're controlling on that circuit. Yeah, I placed those backwards one too many times, so I'm pretty good at double checking the placement. And by backwards, I mean inverse the in-out direction for power. You plug it in and it doesn't work because you have it backwards. I've done that mistake way too many times. And I'm making the wrong valve. So I'm making a liquid digital valve, and I actually want a gas digital valve. So, all right. So we're gonna. This script will be in the description. All right. So what it basically does, if the room is too hot, based on the gas sensor, it opens the valve and makes sure that pump is turned off. And when the valve is open, then base will start. So if it's too hot, we open the valve, turn off the pump. That will cool the base down. If the base is too cold, and this range is like between 23 and 27, so it's a reasonably tight range. If the base is too close, then we go ahead and close the valve, which isolates. Right now the valve is open. And when the valve is closed and there's gas on the outside, we'll turn on the pump to pump the gas out of the outside pipes. Once it hits, zero pressure, the pump turns off. So it only runs for a little bit and it turns off. So that's what this analyzer is for. So it understands the pressure of the pipes on the other side of the so I realized I had the wrong valve. Go back one thing about the pipe analyzer. The pipe analyzer is on the other side of the digital valve, so it can determine if there's any gas in that line. So that's its purpose. Alright, so the valve either isolates the base from those setup pipes outside or connects them. And pipe analyzer is used for making sure there's no gas and we empty it. The gas sensor inside is for measuring temperature inside, which is the driving factor for the logic. The tricky part was really getting the pump working correctly. So you don't want the pump, like for example, if the digital valve is open and you're trying to cool the base, you don't want the pump running. And you don't want a situation where you sort of turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. So you only need to turn that. So you have the conditions set up. So you only turn it on when you need to, which is if the digital valve is closed and there's pressure on the outside pipes, then turn it on. Otherwise, it should be off. Because the valve is open, then obviously you don't want to pump. And if the gas outside is zero, there's no reason to pump. Deal with the power issue. Just kind of double checking everything is correct. Now I'm going to name everything, which I really don't have to do because everything's on a transformer, and so it's, there's only one of each type of device. but I'm naming these to match the names I use for the aliases in the script. And we'll name, so all these match up. Now my aliases for device ports, it's suffixed with a D for device, sort of a form of Hungarian. We gotta kind of squeeze in here and get that connection. Double check. Yeah. Okay, we should be good. Let's give it some juice. Shouldn't require that much power, but we'll crank it up to 1,000 anyway. Turn it on, and okay, the room is 27, so it's it opened the valve up, which is what we want, and the pump is not running, which is what we want. That should be empty by now. Yep. I didn't want to go ahead and open the floor up right now, so I figured I'd stick it over in the corner for now, and I'll deal with it later. So I want to put a drinking fountain in this corner, and I also want a ice crusher, so I can boost up the amount of water in there. And mostly because I have a lot of ice sitting in my mining belt. Okay, so the base is getting a little more tidy than a drinking fountain. Got some liquid radiators, and what I want to do is I want to put radiators on the water supply inside to try to normalize that temperature with the air temperature, because I maintain the air pressure to the optimum plant growing temperature, and thus the water should be the same. Doing a small battery just to fill up the charger on the outs in the airlock. And we can turn that off. So that's our automation for this episode. Now for using the same technique for like cooling CO2 down to like 25 or whatever, it's actually the same script. And instead of using the gas sensor, you just use that connection to the tank that you're storing the CO2. So it can read the temperature of the CO2 gas in the tank. If it's too hot, it opens up. If it's too cold, it just shuts down. And since it's an insulated tank, it won't get any colder once the valve shuts. And that should work fine. I'm just trying to figure out where to stick this thing. I'm actually going to move it around next episode. I didn't like where I put it, because I put it in the wrong place. It's sitting over the tank, so I can't actually connect it. So I figure I run the plumbing first, and then I'll drop it in there. Make sure I don't point it down into the floor. Figure out what we need to get rid of this thing. Alright, now we have to wire it up. Yeah, it's really designed to be placed on the wall with that wiring. So it's kind of stuck out here a little bit. And so I'm throwing the wiring up and around. I just lost my suit lamp. I was going to move that battery, but my hands are full, so I figured I would do that later. So we had to snake it around. I'm like, okay, fine. As I said, I'm gonna move this in next episode a little tighter. I actually move it on the other side of that tank and get a little closer to the wall there, so it won't look as bad. And we have water. Now that our hands are free, we go ahead and drop this in here and keep everything full. Place the filter in my suit. Yep. Okay, so we got temperature room is 24, so got a little cold, so it shut down, and now it's pumping out the gas out of the external line. So for the ice crusher, I'm just going to sort of, yeah, you got to put ice crusher on a frame. Can't just have it floating out there. I was going to stick it out there, but apparently not. And I put it there, and I don't know, way over there, run a pipe across. That's kind of messy. And it's just, I think I'll stick it, it's going to stick it over here, so I'll just pull out. Yeah, it's a perfect place for it. I'll reroute those lines, those cables. Because we don't need a pump anymore, so we pull that out. Well, actually, we do need a pump. Because what we want to do is, once I get done with the ice crusher and get a lot of water in there, I want to turn around and just pump everything out of it. And then once it's empty, then disassemble it. Because I'm not sure what happens if you disassemble a ice crush with liquid still in it. I mean, does it push it into the pipes, or does it dump it in the atmosphere, or does it just vanish? And two of those are not a good thing. So we'll just pump everything out. Since the pump's already sitting here, it's no big deal just to have it here. Now I'll leave it on the default setting, which will warm it up to a reasonable temperature. I think it's like 20, just below 20, which is fine. Then we'll route this over here, and one last thing we need to do. So when we crush ice, ice is water and I believe a little bit of nitrogen. So we have to off-gas that. And since we already have nitrogen in the room, it's no big deal. We'll just put a cowl in there. We'll vent that out. Turn the pump on, crank it up. Find some ice and drop it in. As long as you don't have it go through your hand, it won't melt in your hand. So you just go drag it right from the mining belt directly into the crusher, and there's no melting. And let's make a crap load of trays. Good thing we smelted all that iron. If I can find it. We'll take all this loose stuff. I'll stick it up here for now. You see they're growing fine. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe with growing light and all that, they grew a little faster, but at least given, you know, the massive amount of food provided, you know, I have a long time to go before I run out of my starter food. I'll have stuff going way before then. Yeah, you know, mine up a lot more iron next time out.
Hunger caution.
Speaking of eating, my hunger alarm went off. Okay, so we don't have to worry about manually adjusting the base for cooling. That's nice. So that's one less thing to worry about. That's all crunching away. Okay, we got a big room full of O2. We got a lot of water, still water bottles, and a big chunk of water, and a fountain. So that's doing good. So I decided to expand the length of the base by one more frame. So basically double the area used for the hydroponics. So I'll sort of add a 1x3 to the end of the base there, and then I'll enclose it all. And since outside's a vacuum, I don't have to worry about it. And then once I have it enclosed, then I can pop the glass off on the inside, and then drop in a lot more hydroponic units. I think I need 8. And we're really short on glass, so let's make a bunch of that up. Enough. And put my suit on, turn the lamp off. And the room is 24 and the system is turned off as correct. Yeah, I like the concept of just making the room, put all the crap in there and let it heat up. You know, take advantage of the waste heat. Okay, it's hot enough to knock out that water bottle. Pop on the ledge here, turn off my jetpack. Yep. That's not gonna work. Try that. Aha. Much better. Yeah, I probably should do the technique of alternating between plastic and glass. That would be a little faster. Just double checking I didn't miss anything. Okay, we're good. So let's grab some of this loose stuff while we're out here. Yeah, the base is, we want to keep it just under 100 kilopascals for the plants. Pretty sure the optimum range is between 50 and 100 kilopascals. Double check that. I definitely know if you make it too, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the range. If you get pressure too high, the plants don't like that. Nope, when we finish that ice, we can get that ice out of our backpack. All right, let's do some mining. Pretty sure I'm on the hunt for there's gold. Gold's always useful. So I'm looking for lead, I'm looking for nickel. That's why I sort of hunting around for those. But obviously gold, and I need a lot more iron too. I've been going through that big time. Found some nickel. So we saw it in the distance. We made a tunnel for it. And we found some lead. Some of that stuff is pretty deep down. You know, you don't see it from the surface. You start digging down and you spot it. The moon is like deep. It goes way, way down. I'm not sure it does even have a bottom. I mean, you can dig some pretty big holes in the ground. And we're back. Figure we were fine with lead. We'll go ahead and get this lead out since it's on the colder side. The problem is lead has, I don't know, has something in it. Look it up. But it has something that will basically heat up the furnace. Not sure if it's O2 or whatever. Something, okay, let me dilute it. And this time, I'll actually turn on the power. Haha. Hopefully I learned that mistake. And don't repeat it. So, you only go so high though. So the race is on. Do we hit max pressure or do we drop the temperature in time? Getting real close. setting my dial. So what I decided to do is go ahead and vent a bunch out. And the reason for that is the less gas is in the furnace, the faster it will cool down. And so I'll just pump the gas down a bit and then wait for natural cooling to deal with it. Man, that thing really jumps when you okay, that's enough. Okay, turn it off. And just 4 Kelvin off. All right. We'll just go do something and get rid of that. Oh, and now it's right on. Now, because it's the floating point, now it went off. All right, so come on, it turned green. It turned green. Push the button. Push the button. There's rounding going off here, so I think it rounds down. All right, so we got a whole bunch of solder. That's good. I need to go through my alloys again and re-smelt all that, and then because we don't want to run out something critical because something. All right, so that's happy. That's happy. I'll update batteries while we're here. I'm just trying to avoid too much stuff flying around. Should be a lot less of it at this point. Okay, we don't need that. Turn that off. Our little cooling system continued. Yep, we're in our range. We want to be between I think it was like 23 to 27 or maybe 20. Yeah, I think it's something like that. It's in the script. I have comments in there. And you can set the range wherever you want in the script. I just have that set in a small range. It doesn't change that quickly, so I don't make it too small because I don't want its system flipping on and off all the time. So it's like 4 degrees apart, and given how slow it moves, that seems to be fine. All right, so we're going to go ahead and figure out how to get rid of this ice crusher. Clean this up a little bit. Don't need that running anymore. Yeah, I need some more lockers in here. So the stuff on that side of the portable filter is stuff we sort of want to keep. The stuff on the other side is stuff that goes into the pit. Ah, got some seeds. That's good. So, and we'll drop those in there. Now we can harvest these. And plant, 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 and plant. And since the pressure in the room is 109, we want to get a little lower anyway. We'll pop these off. Man, that loose stuff really flies around. I really should be outside now smelting that ore I have sitting around. Sort of focus on this one area right now. Alright, so what I decided to do, instead of pulling the floor off and then throwing stuff down there and putting the floor back on, I'm going to put a little chute, a little inlet up here, and I can throw my garbage down there. Okay, so we're going to run some more pipes, so we can run 7 more rows now. And add a pipe. Go to the right printer. And we'll just make 2. Now we just need a ton of hydro trays and that should be enough. 7 rows. That even should be enough O2. We'll see how that goes. I mean, I can always just extend it again, you know, and just keep extending it as needed. I think I'll go with this for now. I'm trying to think where to put this. You can always move it later on. We'll just stick it here for now. Okay. Now we can take that stuff and toss it in there. And it goes down into the pit. See that? Instant clean base. And actually that wasn't the original design purpose for the, we haven't got to that yet. But it does have the secondary purpose of a nice garbage location for storing crap you don't want. Sort of a side benefit. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone in any video do something like that before. I think that's unique. As I said, long term I want to get a recycler set up and we'll just grind it all up. I don't want to be saving a bunch of stuff that I just don't need. Trying to think what to keep in. I mean, in general, I want to keep things in units of 50 in the shelves, and the lead's something rare, so it's kind of special. I don't need those trays right now, but I figure, well, need them sooner or later. Definitely need to mine a ton more iron.
Power low.
Okay, let's do some mining. A little more volatiles, and there's volatiles under my base. So I decided to dig that out since I will be using that space at one point. Now I'm thinking, oh drat, I waited too long. Now the sun's up. It's going to melt. And I'm thinking, F it. We'll just slam it in there as fast as we can. We'll just split, and just throw a bunch in there. I mean, it's not like volatiles or oxide are hard to find. I thought about throwing the whole thing in there, and I say, well, probably that's a little excessive. We'll just do this. Boom. Get in there. All right. That should be hot enough. All right. So you see the mistake I made? Spot the mistake? Does anyone spot the mistake? Yeah. Well, apparently I'm so good at turning on my furnace. So I was draining the furnace. And so I turned it on to pump all the gas out. And the furnace is still pumping. So I forgot to turn off the furnace so it won't pump the gas out. All right, so I made the mistake both ways so far. Last episode, I thought it was turned on when it wasn't. And now I made the other mistake thinking it's turned off when it was turned on. Okay. Now I'm going, F it. I don't care. Throw it in there. Blow up. Yep, just toss it all in there. We don't care anymore. If the pressure started getting too high, I would immediately turn the pump on and start pumping out. So I have a safety factor, you know, because that pump pumps really fast. And I'm kind of watching that pressure. Got plenty of temp now. And it's not like finding volatiles and oxide is hard. I really wanted to get this stuff smelted. Get it out of my inventory. Right. Yeah, we've got plenty of room. Plenty of safety factor. And more importantly, I cleared out my inventory, so that's good. Even with a small inventory, you know, it's really, you know, I get bored mining after some point. I mine for a while and then, you know, I just can't mine for like an hour or whatever. Just not my thing. I do these little short mining trips, do a little mining and fill up, and I don't know why I can't pick anything up now. All right, so hope everyone learns how not to use a furnace. So we're done with this episode. So we're just gonna, you know, open this door and call it quits. Until next time, see ya.